Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So just going to give you some team news for the game tomorrow evening against AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League. Of course, it is a 5 to 6 kickoff, and of course it is our second game of the Europa League and all that. So yeah, we'll give you the team news now. So I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has confirmed that Anthony Martial will not be playing in this game. Obviously Martial, I think, has missed the last 5 games in all competitions for us. As you all are aware, he has been out with thigh injury, and we do know that Anthony Martial has been a big miss in our attacking line, and because obviously, I think we're lacking in that attacking line now. Obviously, we have been lacking goals so far this season. But Anthony Martial, I think, he is, closer to regaining full fitness. So I think Solskjaer's confirmed that Martial could possibly be back for the Newcastle game on Sunday. But Martial obviously now is into his 5th season as a Manchester United player. Obviously, as you all know, he has scored over 50 goals for the club in all competitions. Don't forget he signed a new deal back in January, a new 5-year deal with the football club. And I did say if Martial can keep the consistency up, I do believe, he can score from at least between 15 to 20 goals this season. And also, if you can avoid, sustaining many more injuries in that. But Martial is only 23 years of age. We do know that he predominantly, plays out wide, does Martial. But obviously it got confirmed at the start of the season, that he has been given that number 9 shirt, because he does seem to be more effective in that central position. But Martial and Rashford, can both play in the same position, so they are compatible in that aspect, in that, Rashford can play centrally, can play out wide, and Martial, of course, can play centrally, can play out wide. But for me, Martial is more the standout player, so he will be missing tomorrow evening. But in this particular game, anyway, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, will go more with the youth, without a shadow of a doubt. So I do believe, he will make alterations, will Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think Luke Shaw is also out still. Well, we know that he's also out. Luke Shaw is also, I think, missed the last 5 games for Manchester United in all competitions. Don't think he's going to be available for tomorrow evening. Luke Shaw, Solskjaer did confirm prior to the Arsenal game that Luke Shaw, had returned back to training. Obviously, we do know that he's been out with a hamstring injury. Now, obviously, Luke Shaw is another imperative player for Manchester United. Obviously, Luke Shaw is our first choice left back. Obviously, analysing the majority of his Manchester United career, I think he has, been mainly consistent as Luke Shaw. He's had some bad spells in that. He had a bad spell under Mourinho. Obviously, he's sustained quite a few injuries, but I think, prior to that, I think Luke Shaw, has been mainly consistent. We do know, due to Luke Shaw's absence, it has been mainly Ashley Young that's been fulfilling, Luke Shaw's role in that left back position, even though Ashley Young is predominantly a right back. And, in a few games, Rojo has been playing at that left back position. And of course, Alex Tuanzebe did play at left back against Arsenal on Monday. So I do believe in the game against Alkmaar on Thursday, tomorrow. I think, it will be Rojo or Alex Tuanzebe, of course, that does play at left back, in my opinion. That's what I think will happen. Phil Jones is also, set to miss this game. It has been confirmed. I think Phil Jones had sustained a knock in the win over Rochdale in the Cowbell Cup on penalties and that. Because I did say, in the Europa League games and the Cup games and that, the likes of Phil Jones and Rojo, they will get more opportunities in that. And obviously, Phil Jones, has made 2 appearances for the club this season. But I think, he's a huge doubt for this game. I think Diego Dalot and Angel Gomez, they also, could both be back. Obviously, Diego Dalot and Angel Gomez both missed, the draw with Arsenal on Monday. Don't forget Diego Dalot has only made 1 appearance for the club this season. That came in the 1-0 victory against FC Mestania in the Europa League. And Angel Gomez, I think, I did initially say, he's going to be a big part of the squad this season, because obviously he's another one of our midfield options. But yeah, I think he came on in the 2-0 2-0 defeat to West Ham, did Angel Gomez. But Solskjaer confirmed that Angel Gomez and Diego Dalot have both been out injured. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka, he also didn't play against Arsenal. Obviously, due to illness, I think he's had some kind of tonsillitis, as Wan-Bissaka. And, a lot of people, do believe, he's been one of our most consistent signings so far, as Wan-Bissaka. And obviously, Man United paid around £50 million for him, in the summer. But yeah, don't forget as well, Wan-Bissaka sustained a back injury earlier on in the season. And actually, in that aspect, it prevented him, from making his England, senior debut and that. But yeah, he has got illness, so it's unknown, whether he will be playing in this game tomorrow evening or not. But he has obviously, been one of our most consistent signings. Like I said, Eric Bailly is a long-term absence. He's out until the new year. Don't forget, with a knee injury. I think Solskjaer did confirm not too long ago that Fosu Mensah has also, returned back to training. Which is very, very good news, because don't forget, he had been on loan with Fulham last season, Fosu Mensah, and I think he had sustained the injury whilst he was on loan with Fulham. And I think he's still got that knee injury now, as Fosu Mensah. But I think he's closer to regain full fitness. So we have got we've still got quite a few injuries and that in the team. Like I said, Pogba and Rashford, they didn't look fully fit against Arsenal. But like I did say, we've enjoyed really, really difficult start to the season. But despite our bad start to the season, I think Manchester United are still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and Ed Woodward is still convinced that he can still turn things around at the football club and that. And I did initially say at the end of last season, and I think I also said it at the start of this season, that our expectations this season, will be to finish in that top four, and perhaps maybe win some silver. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed these expectations and that. But the way things are going at the moment, we're not going to get in that top four. We're not even going to get in the top six or the top seven. The way things are going. Like I did mention yesterday, we are enjoying our worst start to a Premier League season in 3 decades, and that's how bad it's gotten. We've only had 1 league win out of our last 6 league games, and these, like I said, you can pinpoint certain games out this season that arguably Manchester United should have won. We should have arguably won on Monday against Arsenal, because to be fair, I thought the performance was better against Arsenal. To be quite honest with you, the performance was better, but I still think the game lacked quality. But I think the game indicated out how far both teams are from mounting any kind of title or challenge up, and I think if both teams do continue with the bad run of form, Man United or Arsenal, won't get that top four. But I thought the performance, did definitely improve on Monday. There was some good, individual performances, but Solskjaer says, we're actually facing a learning curve. But yeah, it was a better performance than that. But for me, a lot of things, do need to improve. Manchester United, we need to score a lot more goals. We've only managed 9 goals in the Premier League so far this season. I think, we need to start winning more games. So in that aspect, the results need to improve. The performances need to improve. Tactically, we need to improve, because we are definitely, tactically inept. I think the personnel's all right, because the personnel, does seem to be there. And so a lot of things need to improve at the club. The home form needs to improve. Our away form, also needs to improve. But yeah, this is our worst start to a season in 30 years. We're sitting 10th in the league. We've only registered 9 points from 7 games, and that's nowhere near good enough to our current standards. But Roy Keane obviously give his overarching view on Monday Night Football and that, and I'm going to interpret some of the things he said. He basically said that in his opinion that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to be still backed. He says Man United needs to stick with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he did initially say, did Roy Keane, that we do need to give him at least a couple of transfer windows, because he can still quite frankly say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United squad. I'll credit him in the aspect, Solskjaer did recommend 3 good players to the squad, during the summer. We spent obviously over £140 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire, and we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far. And the good thing is that They've settled in, really, really quick. And I'm really, really delighted that, we did address, some of the problematic areas in the summer transfer window, but, we didn't address all of the problematic areas. So that's an element of concern, but, I said it was going to be extremely difficult for us, to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window, because this has only been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager. But, due to our inconsistency, these now the vast majority of Manchester United fans, demanding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out in the football club, and a lot of Man United fans, a lot of industries, and that believe he will be gone by Christmas if this bad run of form does continue to persist, because so far this season he's replicating what I saw last season, and what I mean in that aspect is I haven't really seen much improvements in that, because last season was a huge disappointment. We finished sixth, obviously failed to win any silverware and that, and we failed to qualify for the Champions League. And I did say, of our failure to qualify for the Champions League, that was one of the things, that was one of the main reasons that went against us in the summer transfer window. Because I did say, about Champions League football, it's going to be hard to attract players to elite level. And I did say during the summer, a lot of players, had reservations about joining the football club. But like I did say, I think, due to our inconsistency, I think the vast majority of the blame, does stem from the board and that. I think everyone has to take the blame, so there's a mixture in that. But I think the vast majority of the blame, does stem from the board. Because for me, the board weren't ruthless enough during the summer. They didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough during the summer, as they did Shaw. And they didn't recommend any sufficient attackers in, or any sufficient midfielders in. So you can't blame the board for that. Some of the blame also stems from Ed Woodward. I think a lot of the Man United fans are not only demanding Solskjaer out, they're also demanding Ed Woodward out. Also, I think some of the blame does stem from Solskjaer. Like I said, some of his tactics and that are questionable, and I think some of the blame, does stem from certain players, because certain players, do have to take responsibility in that, because there's a lot of players, that are underperforming. But like I did say, analysing our squad, I think it's definitely good enough for a top four finish, but it's definitely not good enough to win the league and that. So I think we need at least 3 world class signings, if we are to get back, to where we want to be in that, and obviously to get us back, being 10 to be, future title contenders and that. But definitely in January, we've got to recommend midfielder in, at least one midfielder, because that midfield area is one of the priority areas, where Manchester United do need to strengthen up. Don't forget, for the majority of the summer, the club were in search for a right winner and that. But for me, definitely more investment is needed in the squad. But I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is already, making plans for the January window. I think also Ed Woodward is making plans for the January window. But I think Solskjaer confirmed, earlier on in the summer and that he wants to stick to the same policy, recruiting, young British players, like he did do, earlier on in the summer. But I think, regardless of what happens this season anyway, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job, should be safe for at least this season. So I think he should be safe until May, so Solskjaer. I think the board did a short at the start of the season anyway. His job, should be safe for at least this season. But yeah, a lot of Manchester United fans now are demanding Solskjaer out in the football club. But like I said, Solskjaer now has been at Manchester United overall for around 10 months. So in that aspect, he's been at the club, just under a year. We did recommend Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in December of last year, following a dismissal of Jose Mourinho. And obviously, Solskjaer came to the club as interim manager. Don't forget, he came in as the interim manager. He was interim manager for 3 months. And, to be fair, Solskjaer did really, really well in that 3-month period. The results were good. The performances were good. He exceeded expectations and that. And he got the best out of these group of players. But since Solskjaer got the job in March earlier on this year, everything, of course, has just seemed to all gone wrong, basically. But for me, the club definitely needs to give him more time. And I have, there's some certain stuff I credit him for. Like I said, he's got a lot of faith in his young players. Solskjaer recently mentioned that he has got a lot of confidence in a lot of his players. Don't forget, he did get a lot of the deadwood out, during the summer. So it was good, that we did get, that summer clear out, that we initially demanded. But I did say, despite the fact a lot of players have left the football club since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, I still believe, these more problematic players at the football club that do need to be moved on in January and, of course, next summer, in my opinion, and all that. But yeah, these still, more of a deadwood at the football club, in my opinion. But like I said, Solskjaer, was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. And Solskjaer's got that proven pedigree as a player and that. But he hasn't, he hasn't really got that managerial experience, to the highest level. So that's also an element of concern I've got about Solskjaer. He did win a couple of Norwegian titles and mould. Obviously, he only had a really short tenure with Cardiff and that. But yeah, I think the vast majority of pundits in that obviously saying back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You've got the vast majority of Man United fans, demanding him out in the football club and that. But yeah, I would give him at least a year or maybe even a couple of years, to see who we can, recommend to the football club. And I do believe during the summer that Solskjaer did get given a substantial amount to spend, because the reports did emerge out earlier on this summer that he was going to get given from between 200 to 250 million pounds to spend and that. And Solskjaer did say earlier on the summer, before he obviously recommended, Maguire, Bissaka and Daniel James, and that he wanted to bring, at least 5 new additions to the squad, and this is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had said. But, Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. He's our 4th permanent manager. And I did initially say, we haven't got the structure, to keep sacking managers and that, despite the fact that 3 managers have already been sacked since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, we've had different managers, with different philosophies, and we're not really known for sacking a club and that. And obviously, Solskjaer wants to bring that winning mentality. He wants to bring that fear factor back to the football club, and we know none of that's been there, since the Alex Ferguson era. We know none of that obviously has been there. But yeah, we've had a really, really bad start to the season. We've only won 2 league games out of 7 so far. We've had 2 defeats, and of course we have had 3 draws. But we've got to get back into the Champions League. That's very, very imperative indeed. And I think also the board have a liability, in my opinion. I think the board do need to assure structural changes at the football club. Whether they do assure these structural changes or not, I do not know. The question is, are the board, going to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the tools and that he does need. But I think the good thing is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be back in January, and I do presume, he is going to be back next summer, which is, very, very good news. But definitely, things need to improve at Manchester United and all that. Things need to improve at Manchester United, and like I said, I think something else that could have gone against us, during the summer transfer window. Obviously, don't forget, we didn't recommend a new sporting director in, and I did say, we needed to get a director of footballing, to change, the structure of the club and that, because I did say that's one of the structural changes Manchester United do need, is getting a new director of footballing. And don't forget, for the majority of the summer, was in search for a new sporting director, and I did say, it would have been beneficial to recommend someone who knows the culture of the club, someone who of course has got the experience, and obviously someone who would be reliable, to oversee our transfer business. And there was reports speculating out the other week saying that actually, Ed Woodward, was still looking to recommend a new sporting director, and in that he said reportedly Edwin van der Sar, was on our agenda. But the likes of Evra, Rio, Ferdinand and Darren Fletcher, were linked with roles at the club, early on in the summer and that. But you could arguably say maybe if we had, got that new director of footballing during the summer, then maybe, in that aspect, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, would have been backed more and that. But for me, I think during the summer as well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was talking about our recruitment policy and that, and analysing our recruitment policy, it isn't too good, to be quite honest with you. And like I did say, it hasn't only been this summer transfer window, wasn't competitive enough or ruthless enough. I think in the last 3 to 4 windows, we haven't been competitive enough and all that. In the recent windows prior to this summer, we didn't get anyone in January. Obviously, we're reflecting back last summer, we didn't get our number 1 targets. Obviously, this was back under the Jose Mourinho era. But I do believe, some of the players, we was in for, during the summer, it's probably more than likely, we will reignite our interest in them in January. Maybe we'll wait to go in for some next summer and that. But I have actually been reading recent reports and all that, and it has actually said. It has actually said that reportedly we are ready to spend up to around £90 million on two players in January, reportedly. So reportedly Solskjaer's lining up a £90 million double transfer swoop in January, reportedly on Moussa Dembele from Lyon and Sean Longstaff from Newcastle. Now, obviously, we was tentatively linked with Moussa Dembele, throughout the course of the summer. He wasn't, one of our main priority targets. Obviously, Moussa Dembele, I think, just turned 23 not too long ago. I think he would be the right caliber player for Manchester United, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, the club are seeing him as an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku, Moussa Dembele. And I did say, it was a shame that we didn't recruit a replacement for Lukaku. I think, we should have recruited a replacement for Ander Herrera and that. But yeah, Moussa Dembele is only 23 years of age, so I do believe Moussa Dembele probably will cost us in the region of around £50 million if we had to get him in January. Obviously, I think he's now into his second season with Lyon. Obviously, last season was his debut season in France with Lyon, and I think he did really, really well. He's predominantly a forward. Don't forget, Lyon did pay around £20 million for him last summer. I think from Celtic, because don't forget, he did serve a good couple of years in Scotland. Don't forget, I think he's had experience of playing in the Premier League. Don't forget, he began his senior career with Fulham when he was a lot younger. Obviously, developed with PSG, developed with Fulham, and began his senior career with Fulham, did Moussa Dembele. So do you think he would be the right type of player for Manchester United? Do you think he'd be reliable, to get us them goals and that we do need? So reportedly now, he's one of the players that's on Man United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's agenda. With Sean Longstaff, I did talk a lot about Sean Longstaff, didn't I? During the summer, don't forget. I talked a lot about Sean Longstaff, and Sean Longstaff is a midfielder. Obviously, I think he's predominantly a central midfielder, so he's box-to-box midfielder. Man United were in for him, throughout the course of the summer. He actually was, I think, one of our main priority targets was Sean Longstaff. Obviously, Newcastle, were very, very adamant that he wasn't for sale, during the summer. Newcastle quoted out if they were willing to do any business with him, they wanted in the region of around £50 million throughout the course of the summer. And I think, Manchester United were not willing to pay that and that. Don't forget, Rafa Benitez resigned as Newcastle manager back in June, obviously, which was earlier on in the summer, or was it July, if I can remember rightly in that. But Sean Longstaff, I think, he only made his senior debut for Newcastle last year, don't forget. He did well in the second half of last season. Did Sean Longstaff, put some, really, really good performances out. Like I said, he's only very, very young. He's only 21. He's also a British, Sean Longstaff. But he did initially, begin his career with Newcastle. Well, he began his career with Newcastle. Was a product of their academy. But I think he also had loan spells with Kilmarnock and Blackpool. But yeah, I think, Steve Bruce, obviously, he got appointed in as Newcastle's new manager earlier on in the summer and that. And he had his, overarching view on, the speculation regarding Sean Longstaff. Well, he did have his overarching view on it, and he says, he's a big, part of the future, for Newcastle. This was obviously, what Steve Bruce had insisted, earlier on in the summer. But obviously, we're probably seeing Sean Longstaff as an adequate replacement, for Ander Herrera and that. So if we was to spend, obviously, around £90 million on them two players in January, it would take our spending up to around £230 million in total under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era and that. But yeah, definitely no further more investment is needed. And I think Sean Longstaff is still under contract with Newcastle until 2022, because I think he signed a new deal not too long ago. With Moussa Dembele, I think he's under contract with Lyon until 2023. But reportedly now, them two players are on our agenda. I've also, been reading recent reports as well about, Massimiliano Allegri, from the former Juventus manager, should I say. Reportedly now, he wants to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United. There was a lot of reports from the Italian press stemming out the other week saying that, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is to be sacked by the football club, then, we have reportedly made Massimiliano Allegri as our primary candidate, to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, obviously, Massimiliano Allegri, stepped down as Juventus manager earlier on in the summer, or was it? I think it was actually, the end of last season. Obviously, he led them to 5 consecutive Serie A titles. He also got Juventus to 2 Champions League finals, and obviously the majority of his silver he had won. Obviously, had become at Juventus. Massimiliano Allegri. 5 years there. Actually, spent the entirety of his managerial career in Italy. Also spent the entirety of his playing career in Italy. So he's never played in the Premier League. Obviously, he's never managed in the Premier League. So do you think he would be the right man, to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the football club? But yeah, I think Massimiliano Allegri, according to reports, is interested, in coming to Manchester United, reportedly, and that. So do you think he, would, like I just said, do you think he would be the right man? Don't forget though, before, we actually, recommended Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in, obviously, we, went in for Pochettino. Obviously, he was our primary candidate, to come in, was Pochettino. Obviously, before Solskjaer got recommended in, and that, we was in for Pochettino, for a very, very long time after the sacking of Jose Mourinho and that, because Pochettino, he's a pretty good manager. He's good at developing young players and that. Obviously, he's good at developing young players. He's been a long-serving manager now in the Premier League. This is now his 6th season with Tottenham, so he has been at Tottenham, 5 years. Obviously, has not yet got that proven pedigree though of winning any silverware, which are Pochettino. But so if Solskjaer is to be sacked, could we possibly, reignite our interest in Pochettino? But like I said, also Zinedine Zidane was on our agenda at the time. Jose Mourinho, got sacked. But obviously, our preference was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because obviously Solskjaer knows the culture of the football club. Also, Solskjaer, was a cheaper solution than Mauricio Pochettino, because I think he did say at the time we was in for Pochettino, we'd have had to pay from between 35 to 40 million pounds. Well, that's the compensation, we would have had to pay, to recommend him in. But at the time we was in for Pochettino anyway, he had no intentions of leaving Tottenham. And like I did say anyway, Daniel Levy, who's the vice chairman, I think, for Tottenham, is also, a hard negotiator. But yeah, he's well Premier League proven, Pochettino. Like I said, before he was at Tottenham, he had a good short tenure with Southampton. I think before he was at Southampton, he managed Espanyol. So there's actually only 3 clubs there that Mauricio Pochettino has managed. I think his philosophy seems to be very, very good, and that a lot of people think he would be the right manager for Manchester United. And but I did say, I think the only way we'd have got Zinedine Zidane or Pochettino in after the sacking of Jose Mourinho is if the club would have assured them a substantial amount to spend basically. But yeah, so there's been a lot of talks, going on about Massimiliano Allegri, as you all know. But like I did say, reflecting back under the Alex Ferguson era, don't forget, Ferguson, didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United. When we recommended him in from Aberdeen, back in 1985, 1986, Ferguson, didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club and that. And like I did say, I know the boards were nowhere near as ruthless, in the old generation as they are now and that. But you got to take that into account, and but Ferguson, after that 4 years, look what he went and accomplished. We had 20 odd years of success under him. I said, no matter who our manager is, no matter who our manager is, no one is going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. We're never going to replicate, what we did under Alex Ferguson. And obviously, that's something we've got to accept. And no one's going to ever have a tenure as long as Alex Ferguson did, and all that. And Solskjaer obviously wants to bring that fear factor and that back to the football club, and obviously he wants to get us back to playing the way that we did under Alex Ferguson and that. But like I said, I just don't see it happening. But Solskjaer did say earlier on this summer, he believes he's following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. But I did say anyway, reflecting on the amount of money that's been invested into the football club, also reflects on the amount of money that's been invested into the football club. Also reflects on the history of this football club, because we are the most successful team in England, historically, and we should be much more of a commanding position than we're in now, to be quite honest with you. Because, like I said, the money that's been spent, over 140 million pounds, has been spent under Solskjaer this summer. Just under 400 million pounds, was spent under Jose Mourinho. Obviously, I already given you the reasons, why it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era. Obviously, I think we recommended Jose Mourinho in too late, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. You could arguably say if we'd have recommended Jose Mourinho in after Alex Ferguson's retirement and that, then maybe would have been in much more of a stronger position than we're in now. And like I said, Mourinho was one of the best managers in the world, back in the day. But I think we probably recommended him in too late. He did have a 2.5 year tenure at Manchester United, did Jose Mourinho. But his tenure didn't work out, despite the fact he won the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season. But the reasons it didn't work out under Mourinho, because obviously, reflecting back last summer, the board weren't backing the signings that I wanted to recommend into the football club, because actually his priority last summer was to recommend a central defender in. Obviously, he had bad disputes with the board, he had bad disputes with the top players. Obviously, it was part of the bus football under Mourinho, the style of playing that, wasn't right. So these are the reasons why it didn't work out under him. And yeah, a lot of money was spent under Jose Mourinho, and obviously the vast majority of these players now are obviously Jose Mourinho's, and obviously don't forget Solskjaer is inheriting them. Obviously under Louis van Gaal, just over around 200, or was it over 200 odd million pounds that was spent under him. He brought a lot of players in. The vast majority of them now have left. But, still some of them are at the football club. And it didn't work out under Van Gaal, because he didn't have the right sort of philosophy. I think he only lasted just over a year at Manchester United, did Louis Van Gaal. And then under David Moyes, obviously around £67 million was spent under David Moyes. He's a manager who's had the shortest tenure at the football club since the Alex Ferguson era. David Moyes only lasted 10 months at Man United. So I think the club must have spent around £800 odd million in the last 6 or 7 years or so in all the managerial eras, and that's obviously not taking into account what was spent under Alex Ferguson, because actually Ferguson did develop a lot of young players in that, as you all know. But if you want to take into account what was spent under Ferguson, obviously it's way over £1 billion and that that the football club have spent on players. We've also got players on big contracts. We've also got players on big contracts and that. But yeah, so despite our bad start to the season, though, I still think these certain players that have performed quite well. Like I said, Daniel James has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Man United career. Don't get me wrong, I still think Daniel James is still a prospect. He needs time to develop. Wan-Bissaka has been very, very good. Harry Maguire, and that's been very, very good. And I did say, if them three, can keep the consistency up, I think, their valuations will persistently grow. I think that Scott McTominay, has enjoyed a really, really good start to this season. In regards to him being a long-term solution for Man United, I have, got an element of concerns about that. But I think, if he keeps the consistency up, McTominay, he obviously will keep getting more minutes under his belt, but I don't know if he's a long-term solution for Man United. Like I said, but so far this season he has proven a point. He's done really, really well in that midfield. It was good to see him score on Monday against Arsenal, and mainly so far this season he has been playing alongside Paul Pogba in that midfield as McTominay. Quite a few times this season he's played alongside Nemanja Matic, mainly due to the absence of Paul Pogba and that. But McTominay has done really, really well, to be fair to him. He's still developing in that, so he is still very, very young. I think in the games that Mason Greenwood has played this season, I think he's done very, very well for the football club. And recently, Solskjaer give his overarching view on Mason Greenwood, and I actually think Mason Greenwood should start tomorrow evening against Alkmar. Mason Greenwood, I think Solskjaer said it's impossible to leave him out of the team. Obviously if he does keep scoring, and obviously if he keeps consistency up, he has assured that Mason Greenwood will get more minutes under his belt. Well, actually, I'm surprised he didn't start against Arsenal, Mason Greenwood. I thought he would have, chosen him over Rashford, because I did say at this moment in time, I think he's a much better solution than Marcus Rashford, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Mason Greenwood, he's only 17 years of age. Don't forget he scored 2 goals in 2 starts, against FC Astana and Rochdale. So in that aspect, he came up with the moment of quality. And I think by the time Mason Greenwood's 23, 24, he can become a huge... well, I think he can be world-class centre. I think he can be world-class, centre forward, and I also believe, he can become a huge success at the football club. I think he'll become a success anywhere at Man United. Will Mason Greenwood? He is now only 17 years of age. He only made his full debut for the football club at the end of last season, the 2-0 home defeat to Cardiff. But yeah, and we have got a lot of young players in the squad. As people were saying, that are developing and trying to improve and that at Manchester United. And I think maybe some of the young players, maybe we should orchestrate on, loaning some of the young players out and that, because maybe, it'll be beneficial for their career, and obviously in that aspect, it will gain them more experience, and maybe, it could only turn out that maybe, Mason Greenwood only becomes a successful, young upcoming player at Manchester United. I actually believe as well that Alex Tuanzebe, will become a success. I think he should be in line as well to play in this game against AZ Alkmaar. Maybe he will keep his place at that left back position. Obviously, he's actually predominantly a centre back, is Tuanzebe, but he can actually, play as a full back as well. So his versatility, is very, very good. I'll credit him. I thought he had a really, really good game on Monday night against Arsenal. Tuanzebe, sure he deserves, to keep his place in the team. He deserves, to keep his place in the team. Like I said with Chong, I've got some element of concerns about Chong, to be quite honest with you. Chong hasn't played, much this season. Maybe Chong could be involved in this game against Alkmaar and that, maybe he should have arguably gone out on loan, because don't forget, earlier on in the summer that Chong had received loan offers from PSV. He also, received loan offers from his former club, Feyenoord and that. But obviously he turned these loan offers down because obviously, Chong, does want to remain loyal to the football club. So yeah, we know he's staying at least for this season. I think reports emerged out the other week saying that he was in negotiations with the football club over a new contract. That's what it had basically said. Andres Pereira, I think he's had a pretty bad start to this season, but I'll credit him against Arsenal. I thought Andres Pereira, did put a pretty good performance out and that. Obviously, Andres Pereira can... I think he plays a midfielder, but I think he obviously, mainly, he has played on the right-hand side, quite a few times and that, but he did really, really well against Arsenal, so maybe he will obviously, play in this game. My overarching view on Fred is that, Fred... wasn't too good against Rochdale in the Carabao Cup last week and that, but I think, he deserves more chances, does Fred. We need to see more of Fred, basically, because I know Fred, has mainly enjoyed difficult time at Man United, in comparison to his time at Shakhtar Donetsk. Because analysing him at Shakhtar Donetsk, he was an exceptional player, when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk. We know he hasn't mainly replicated this at Manchester United. We paid just under £50 million for him last summer under Jose Mourinho. And let's be fair, Fred never really got the opportunity under Jose Mourinho and that. So we need to see more of him. And I think he's a much better solution than Matic, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But I think any of our, midfielders are better solutions than Nemanja Matic and that. But yeah, maybe he should be involved in this game. He should be involved in this game. Jimmy Garner, now, I don't think he's yet, made an appearance this season. Obviously, Jimmy Garner, he's another one of the young upcoming players. I do believe he played a couple of times throughout pre-season, did Jimmy Garner, if you do remember rightly. Definitely Sergio Romero, he will obviously be the goalkeeper for this game, obviously, because he's obviously got the experience and have participated in the cup games, and obviously he's been the goalkeeper in the last two games against Rochdale, in the last two cup games, Rochdale and FC Astana in the Europa League. So yeah, it will be Romero that will be in goal, I do presume, for tomorrow evening. Obviously Romero is our second choice goalkeeper. Like I did say, he isn't reliable enough to become our number one goalkeeper. Obviously we have got three goalkeepers now. We've got obviously David De Gea, who's the number one. You got Romero, and obviously we've got Lee Grant. I think Lee Grant was injured earlier on this season. We had two other goalkeepers, but obviously they've both been loaned out. Obviously, Dean Henson is out on loan at Sheffield United, obviously for the season. He's gone back out on loan to Sheffield United, and I think it's good in that aspect because he's going to gain him more experience. Dean Henson is still only very, very young. And, it confirmed that Joe Pereira, went out on loan to Hearts in Scotland, I think that was as well. So we have loaned a couple of goalkeepers out. Rojo, I think, Rojo, maybe should get given the opportunity in this game. Maybe he won't. Maybe, we'll probably go with Alex Tuanzebe instead of that. And I said Rojo, he'll get, more of his chance and that in the cup games and that. But like I did say, we've got games coming up thick and fast. We've got Alkmar tomorrow evening, 5 to 6 kick-off, don't forget. Then obviously we'll go to Newcastle on Sunday in the league. Hopefully, more players can be fully fit for that game. And then obviously it's an international break. And then after the international break, we do go to Liverpool. We go against Liverpool at Old Trafford, which is also, going to be a very, very tough game. But yeah, AZ Alkmaar, like I said, it's going to be much more of a tougher test, than FC Astana. I think also Partizan Belgrade is also, going to be a much more tougher test than FC Astana in that. Obviously, I think we're top of the group at the moment. Obviously, we did win our first game of the Europa League against, obviously, FC Astana and that. Obviously, and that. So hopefully, we can make it 2 wins out of 2 in the Europa League. If we can obviously beat Alkmaar tomorrow evening. I think Alkmaar are sitting third in the Eredivisie at the moment. I think they've enjoyed a pretty decent start to the season. Don't really know much about AZ Alkmaar. If I'm going to be quite honest with you. But yeah, there'll be no Martial tomorrow. There'll be no Phil Jones. If Phil Jones had been fit, I think Jones would have been involved. Maybe there will be Rojo. Maybe the Tuanzebe will play as well. Romero should definitely start. Saka, we're not too sure about what's going to be happening with him. Definitely Eric Bay will not be playing because he's out until the new year. Shaw won't be playing. Fossil Mental and that, won't be playing because obviously, they're all injured for the football club. Maybe McTonway could be resting in this game because obviously he seems to be playing more in the Premier League. I think Fred should definitely, get an opportunity in this game. My opinions on Jesse Lingard, I think, he's enjoyed a really difficult start to this season. And like I do keep saying, reflecting on Jesse Lingard's status at the football club and also, he's on around, $100,000 a week. Jesse Lingard, should be putting much more better performances out. And I'd still say Lingard is a long-term solution for Manchester United. Maybe Rashford, will be involved in this game against Alkmaar. Don't forget, he's just recently recovered from a groin problem. Like I did say on Monday, in my opinion, Rashford didn't look fully fit to me, if I am going to be quite honest with you. But Rashford, hasn't been great this season. Like I said, I think, he did really, really well throughout pre-season. He did really, really well in the opening game against Chelsea, not scoring 2 goals. But I think prior to that, he has been way below par as Marcus Rashford. He's done okay in parts. Like I said, he hasn't performed to the same sort of extent as how Dan James, and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire and that's performed. Rashford, a lot of people do believe that Rashford is overrated and that. Rashford is still only 21 years of age, don't forget. He's been a United player since the age of 7. So obviously in that aspect, he's so far spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United and that, he's been in the senior squad with us, since 2016. And we have seen Rashford at his best as a Man United player. And when he's at his best, he's good at receiving the ball. He can get them runs in behind. He can, have that finishing assets. But, Rashford just hasn't been the same this season. So he really, really needs to step up to the plate, does Marcus Rashford. And he's still only 21 years of age. And my overarching view on Paul Pogba as well, like I said, he didn't look fully fit on Monday. Don't forget, he's recently, just recovered from an ankle injury as Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba, for me, again, this season, he hasn't performed to the standards as we all expected. I think he has done okay in parts. I don't think yet Paul Pogba has scored this season. But I think, Pogba will leave the football club in January. And I think if he doesn't leave in January, he will definitely leave the football club next summer. If we do get rid of Paul Pogba, though, we'll generate a substantial amount for his departure, but that's not the point. We know deep down of how much of an imperative player he is. It was good that we did convince Paul Pogba, to stay at the football club, at least for this summer anyway, especially, with our failure to land a midfielder in. Paul Pogba, he's analysing the majority of his Man United career. He has been mainly inconsistent, in comparison to his time, when he was at Juventus, because he did have 4 good years in sharing with Juventus. Did Paul Pogba. He hasn't performed to the same sort of level at Manchester United. Let's be honest. We have seen Paul Pogba at his best as a Manchester United player. We have seen him at his best. He had. He did really, really well in that 3-month period, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager and that. And we mainly see the best of Paul Pogba, when he's 3'd up, because he can score goals, he can provide, and he's arguably one of the best midfielders in the world, when he's at his best. But he had a long running transfer saga, throughout the course of the summer. Quite a lot of teams went in for him. It was mainly, relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid was Paul Pogba and that. I did say, Paul Pogba's move to Real Madrid was the stumbling block. The stumbling block of Paul Pogba's move to Real Madrid basically, was reflecting on the substantial amount we put on him basically, because obviously, we demanded that wanted around £180 million. Obviously, in that aspect, we was demanding just actually more than double than what we paid for him from Juventus back in 2016, and obviously Real Madrid were not willing to pay up to £180 million for Paul Pogba and that. And I think Solskjaer recently said that he's very adamant that Paul Pogba will not be for sale in January, and he basically he's informed Real Madrid, that any attempts will be unsuccessful for Paul Pogba in January. But I still believe definitely that Paul Pogba does want out with the football club. Now, there has been a lot of reports recently stemming out from the media and that saying that, there has been reports stemming out from the media quite recently that, there has been talks of Man United possibly, renewing Paul Pogba's contract with the football club, because Paul Pogba on his current deal at the moment is obviously on around, $290,000 a week, so obviously he's at one of the highest paid players at the football club. Obviously he's got 2 years left on his current deal with an option, to extend it by a further year. But now I was reading recent reports not too long ago, and they said, Paul Pogba was demanding a substantial £600,000 a week from the football club, if he's to commit his long-term future to the club, and of course if he is to renew his contract and that. Even though Man United have got the financial power probably to meet his wage demands, I can't see the club willing to meet his wage demands and that. And I think Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola as well was demanding £600,000 a week for his client to remain Manchester United. So basically Mini Raiola is forcing Manchester United into selling Paul Pogba and that. So he wants basically his wages, doubled, if he is to stay at the football club. Paul Pogba, I think still wants to leave anywhere, but £600,000 a week equates to around 300 and sorry, not 300, 30 million a year, or is it 31 million a year, it does equate to, but yeah, I can't see, Manchester United willing to give Paul Pogba that, but, Real Madrid, spent a substantial amount during the summer. They spent around £300 million on 5 players. They did sell some players, so they did generate some of the money back and that. But Paul Pogba did confirm back in June that he wanted to leave Man United, and he publicly admitted this and that, and he did say he was seeking for a new challenge in that. And Zinedine Zidane did identify Paul Pogba as his number one priority target. But Paul Pogba, if you do remember rightly, he did classify Real Madrid as one of the biggest clubs in the world, and he did say at some point in his career he does want to play for Real Madrid. Don't forget, there was rumours during the summer of him possibly making a return back to Juventus. He allegedly said that he had agreed a deadline day move to PSG and that, but his move to PSG never materialised, due to the Neymar saga. Obviously there was rumours about him, possibly, going to Barcelona, if you can remember rightly. But it hadn't only been this summer that Paul Pogba was subjected to intense speculation. He was also subjected to intense speculation last summer, reflecting on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho and that, because, he did have a really, really poor relationship with Jose Mourinho, and Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes, of course, when Jose Mourinho left the football club. Paul Pogba's in his 4th season now at Man United, and he's won the Europa League and League Cup of us. That came in his 2nd season at the football club, but it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to build a side around Paul Pogba anywhere. I still believe he's going to leave the football club, but like I did say to you, a lot of players have now left, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. Obviously, Valencia left at the end of last season after he served 10 years at Manchester United, and Valencia, was a long-serving player for the football club. Obviously, we saw, Chris Smalling leave the football club. He went out on loan to Roma for just under £3 million. Despite the fact that Chris Smalling left, though, There's still 6 centre backs in the team and that. Darmian left the football club. He went to Italy as well. Ander Herrera left, don't forget, on a free transfer earlier on this summer. Marion Fellaini, of course, left the football club. Ander Herrera and Marion Fellaini were both two long-serving players. Herrera was at Man United 5 years. Fellaini was at Man United 6 years and that. And that you could say that was another mistake for Manchester United, getting rid basically of Ander Herrera, because you could arguably say, that Ander Herrera, was one of our best players, since the Alex Ferguson era and that. I was disappointed that I left, because this is a good start. The majority of the games we won, Ander Herrera, of course, was playing last season. So that just indicates how much of an impact he did make in that midfield. But I was infuriated that we let him go on a free transfer earlier on this summer. We let his contract run down and that. And it was bad. That's bad business in that aspect from the football club. But we are known for overpaying for players, and when it comes to letting them go, we let them go for next to nothing. And like I said, we've done it in recent years. There's been prime examples of it this summer. Like I said, we've done it with Herrera and Matteo Darmian. Like I said, Lukaku and Sanchez both went to Inter Milan. They both left Man United. So in that aspect, they're reuniting together. And I think we're short of options now in that attacking line following the dismissal of Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez and that. But I still believe these more players that do need to leave. I think Young needs to be moved on at the end of the season. Probably Jones needs to be moved on sometime in the future. Matic definitely needs to be, I think, moved on in January or next summer. So these definitely still problematic players and that at the football club. But the main part of this video is to give you some of the team news for the game against AZ Alkmaar tomorrow. I presume Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should be doing a press conference for the game and that. I haven't seen one yet, but I will currently have a look now. And yeah, I'll do a video as well soon to give you also my starting 11 prediction for the game and that. Yeah. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes, on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.